Hi, welcome to the Linux DNS Server Configuration course. This is the 8th video of this series. If you want to learn Linux DNS Server in detail, I will suggest you to view all the videos of this playlist. Today we are going to learn about DNS records. Up to this time, we have worked with various DNS records during zone configurations. In this video, I will explain those records in detail. So let's get started. DNS server has various record types. These are the most common: the address record, PTR or pointer record, canonical name or CNAME record, NS for name server record, MX mail exchanger record, SOA is the start of authority, and TXT is the test record. We will see in detail step by step, and we will test it from our local DNS, also from the internet by using MX toolbox. Let's talk about the address record. A is the address record. It is called the A record lookup. It finds the IP address of a subdomain or hostname. It's used on the forward zone file. When you ask DNS to resolve any FQDN like www.mailserverguru.com or pc1.mailserverguru.com, it will pick the IP associated with the subdomain from the zone file. Now let's go to the terminal and let's see in practical. If we see our zone file, we can see there are a few A record here. Now if we query our DNS, let's say if you ask him to find out the IP address of ns1.mailserverguru.com, then it can easily find out the IP address. So this is the main function of the A record. It defines the IP address of a hostname or subdomain. If we try to find out the www, then the www server is the 0.60. Now if we put any other record, let's say PC5 is 25. Now if we ask the DNS to find out the PC5 IP address, it should resolve the 0.25. So this is the A records use. It defines the IP address with the hostname. So whenever we are querying any hostname or subdomain, then it retrieves the IP address. This is its main functionality. Now let's talk about the PTR or pointer record. It is called the reverse lookup, mostly used for mail server hostname validation. PTR means pointer record. It is used on the reverse zone file. If you search for hostname or subdomain associated with any IP, then it will look for the PTR record on the reverse zone and find the IP associated with the queried subdomain. Now let's go to the terminal and let's edit the reverse zone file. Here you can see all the records. Now if we ask our DNS to find out the hostname of 0.24, then from the reverse zone it is retrieving the pc4.mailserverguru.com has the IP address of 0.24. So this is its main functionality. Let's edit it. 24. We are inputting another record. This is the form. 25 is the last octet and the reverse zone configured with the subnet. So 25 is the last octet. So 192.168.0.25 will be pc5.mailserverguru.com. Now let's restart the named service, and if we search again, so we are inputting IP address and we are finding out the hostname or subdomain. Now it can easily retrieve pc5.mailserverguru.com has the IP address of 0.25. So this is the PTR records use. It will take the IP address and it will find out the subdomain. Third is the CNAME record. CNAME means canonical name. If you want to use the same server with multiple host name, then the CNAME record is used to define each host record to point to the original A record. Now let's go to the terminal again. Here we have all the A records. Now let's create a CNAME record. So we are creating two alias name like web and web host, or actually derivative of www record. Now let's save it and restart the named service. And if we query web.mailserverguru.com, then it is answering is an alias for www.mailserverguru.com, and the www IP address is a 0.60. So this is the original host, but we are defining an alias named web, which is actually targeting the www entry. Same again, if you check the web host, it results the same. Web host is an alias for www, and the www address is the 0.60. So to create alias record, we are using the CNAME record type. Now the NS is the name server record. NS defines the DNS server of the zone. Now if we ask our DNS server host -t NS, NS is the name server, find out the name server of this domain .com. It answers mailserverguru.com name server ns1.mailserverguru.com. So it finds out easily because we have defined mailserverguru.com. This is the NS record. We can input another NS, let's say NS2. So let's define the NS2. NS2 is 11. Now if we ask our DNS to find out the name server for the mailserverguru.com, it is answering with the two server NS1 and NS2. So NS records define the name server or the DNS server of the zone. MX is the mail server record. If we have mail server, for incoming mail we need to define these records. Here we have defined in MX, this is the priority. In MX10, vestamail.mailserverguru.com is our mail server. So all incoming mail for mailserverguru.com will go to the vestamail.mailserverguru.com host, and vestamail has IP address 0.156. Now if we ask DNS to give me the mail exchanger for mailserverguru.com, it is answering mailserverguru.com mail is handled by 10 is the priority vestamail.mailserverguru.com. Now if we change the record, let's say we have another mail server which has the second priority. If the first priority mail server gets down, then the mail will be delivered to Vestamail2, we need to define the host record. Vestamail2 is the 157, let's say. Systemctl restart. Now, if you ask the DNS server to find out the MX of mailserver.com, now it is answering, is handled 10 Vestamail and 20, the second priority mail server is Vestamail2. So during email sending from internet, the sending DNS server will find out that we have two mail server. First one is the 10 and the second one is the 20. So if 10 gets down, then the 20 will receive the mail. So MX record is used to define the mail server for any domain. Now the SOA record type. SOA stands for the start of authority. SOA contains the administrative information about the zone, like responsible contact person for the zone, last update time, zone transfer time to secondary DNS server, etc. Now let's go to the terminal to see the details of the SOA record. This is the SOA record. In SOA, we define the zone transfer details, and postmaster is the responsible person. This is our primary DNS server where the mailserver.com zone is hosted. So these are the SOA record. If we query the SOA record, here you can see mailserver.com has SOA record, ns1.mailserver.com, postmaster, and the zone transfer times. So SOA's main functionality is to represent the authoritative DNS server, the contact person, and the zone transfer detail. Finally, the TXT record. TXT record associates arbitrary text data with the zone. These records are for special purpose actually. Like for mail server security, there are several records like SPF, DKIM, and DMARC. These records are provided in the DNS as TXT record. Sometimes special codes are provided as TXT record for domain verification by various organizations. Let's go to the terminal to see the TXT record. We have defined an example. Here on the TXT, we said, hello, how are you? So if you search for the TXT record, mailserver.com descriptive text, hello, how are you? So if anyone query for the TXT record, it will find the normal texts, and these are used for special purpose like mail server, SPF, DKIM, and DMARC, and website validation. So these are the most common DNS records we need to learn. Now let's query these DNS records from the internet by using MX toolbox. Let's find out the A record for mail.google.com. Here you can see Google Mail.ai or l.google.com has the IP address. Now let's say we have the IP. We need to find out the hostname or subdomain. So we are searching for the PTR. So this IP is associated with the hostname or domain name. So this is the domain name. Now let's find out the NS for google.com. So these are the DNS servers. Let's find out the mx.google.com. So these are the Google's MX. We can find out the TXT if you have any. So these are the TXT record on the Google. So in this way, we can find out all the records from the internet by using the MX toolbox. So this is a very good DNS query tool available on the internet. So this is it for today. Thank you for being with me. If you still didn't subscribe to my channel, please subscribe. It will encourage me a lot to create more videos for you. So thank you. I'll see you on the next video. Bye.